Hi, this is Charles Hoskinson broadcasting live from rough and rugged Wyoming. Getting some coffee right here. Wanted to make a video real quick, talk a bit about the Midnight community, all the lovely stuff there. I've been added to the stage properly. Hope that you guys can see me. All right, so Midnight is doing incredibly well. There we go. There's the wrong button clicked. Midnight is doing incredibly well. And in fact, we are getting very, very close to the official launch of Midnight. So the Midnight Summit, November 17th, we're going to talk a bit about the roadmap and how Midnight gets launched. Just like when we launched Cardano, there were stages of Cardano. And with Midnight, we took a long roadmap, compressed the entire launch down to a very short period of defined things. So there's going to be 4 stages. We're going to talk all about them at the Midnight Summit. Don't want to spoil that. So please do wait for that, November 17th. But the long and short is that this year, the first phase will launch. And a very natural question got asked, which is, well, what does it mean to be a Midnight community member? It's somehow related to being Cardano, but it's different in that it's its own blockchain, its own culture. It's just like being an Iagon fan or a SNEC fan. You know, there's a connection there. And as the father of Cardano, I created Cardano, and father of Midnight, created Midnight. It's about my second kid is just about to be born. And I'm really excited. I'm really fired up. I'm giddy. And there were some things we did with Cardano that were phenomenal. And like we had the Cardano Ambassadors program, the Cardano Effect. We had built up a very strong roadmap, vision, and culture with the launch of Cardano. And when we look at Midnight, we have an enormous amount of lessons. Just like on your second kid, you have a lot of lessons that you learn from the mistakes that you made with the first kid that you don't repeat on the second kid. So we have a lot of lessons that we've learned, but we'd like to go back to first principles with respect to how we engage and build with the community. And this time around, there's a friendly foundation, and this time around, there's a friendly ecosystem to work with, and we don't have a lot of the pitfalls and legacy concerns. So we can be a lot better and a lot more systematic. In particular, I want to start a Midnight Ambassador program, and I'd like to start a really nice Midnight podcast that creates weekly content. So I love the idea of calling the podcast The Night Shift, and every week it talks about the totality of the Midnight ecosystem, what's going on, why it's making progress, who's doing what where, showcasing various things. So we're going to get that started hopefully by January. And for Midnight Ambassadors, we can innovate the original ambassador program that we had with Cardano. In addition to all the lessons learned from that, what we also can do is have anonymous ambassadors because of the selective disclosure technology of Midnight. So we'll launch that in 2 phases, the public ones first and then the private one second, and allow people to have aliases for provability as an example of the power of the system as a whole. Zcash is up over 1,000% this year. It's growing by leaps and bounds. And the reality is the space as a whole is waking up to the value of privacy coins. People are realizing that that entire sector and segment, this concept of you having rational privacy, owning your own identity, this ability to protect yourself from global surveillance to your detriment, that is an extremely important thing that we have to get over the line as an industry. I don't feel comfortable when people track every single stablecoin transaction. I don't feel comfortable when how much you make for a living is publicly known by everybody, everywhere, forever. You have a human right to privacy in these things. To live in a society, we have to be able to selectively disclose, but the foundational right of privacy should always be preserved. And the reality is, what we have constructed with Midnight is going to be not just the best option, but as it evolves, the only option for that, because the technology is just so far ahead. There's a lot of amazing ideas that have come together, and we have to build a community unique to Midnight that not only cares about this, but is able to intelligently talk about this and what you can do for infrastructure, for medical records, for supply chains, for stable coins, and thousands of other applications where when you really think about it, it's not a good idea for those records to be on a blockchain forever known, revealed to everybody in the world, immutable, time-stamped, and auditable. You need the value of a blockchain, the resilience, the decentralization, the censorship resistance, You need to make sure that things aren't tampered with. So you need validation capabilities. But at the same time, you need privacy with that. And that's why Midnight exists. And Cardano launching Midnight, if we are successful, it means that Cardano launched a blockchain, launched a project as valuable as itself, which means that Cardano is a viable place for people to launch $10 billion projects, $20 billion projects. The entire industry will see that, they'll know that, and they'll start talking about Cardano as a place to replicate the Midnight miracle. And I want all of you in the Cardano ecosystem and beyond, and all the new ecosystems that we brought in, to be part of that story. So together over the next 90 days, we're going to work together. We're going to create a culture where we're going to work together. We're going to create great information channels, and I'm going to personally be there every step of the way. I'm incredibly excited. I'm every week going to at least do a space or be part of some form of AMA in official Midnight channels. So we'll figure out all the logistics and get those dates set. And I don't care where I'm at in the world, I'm going to find time for that. And if you want to ask me any question, engage with me directly, I'll be there alongside other people in the community. And together over the next 90 days, we're going to figure out what it means to be a Midnight community member. We're going to build a culture. We're going to talk to each other, and it's a really exciting time. And then we're going to broadcast it to not only the cryptocurrency space, but all the new people that are coming into the cryptocurrency space, that this is a new generation. It's the fourth generation, the one that brought selective disclosure and rational privacy, and the first time ever that this can be done in a cooperative way. Midnight does not care where you come from. The whole concept of a capacity exchange and cross-chain applications means you can pay in Ether or pay in Bitcoin, you can pay in Sol, you can pay in ADA. It's a safe place for everybody, legacy and Web3 together, to come together and actually get things done and to add rational privacy to the things that they do. And when we look towards the next 3 to 5 years in the roadmap of Midnight, we're going to have all kinds of wonders, from incredible scalability to seamless interoperability with layer 2 solutions, to quantum resistance, to next generation folding schemes, to the unification of privacy enhancing technologies like fully homomorphic encryption and multi-party computation into one homogeneous stack that allows people to have a turnkey library to handle and reason about how privacy should work. This is perhaps the most important thing ever done in the industry. And the reason being is it's the last thing the industry needs to do. It's the last mile. It's the last part of the bridge across the river to let people go from TradFi to DeFi. And we can't fumble this one as an industry. We can't screw this one up. You know, we've, for the last 15 plus years, been fighting generation by generation. And we learned how to be decentralized. We learned how to do smart contracts. We learned how to scale and be interoperable and how to govern. And now we have to learn how to do rational privacy. And we learn how to do selective disclosure and to introduce identity into the cryptocurrency space. Once that's done, nation states, companies, and individuals alike can run in the cryptocurrency space completely on a blockchain without any fear, and getting a math-based guarantee that their human rights and business rights are respected, honored, and immutable, just as immutable as the transactions. So November is going to be a very exciting month. It's one of the best birthday gifts I've ever gotten, to be here and watch the birth of kind of a new thing. And as we close out the year and we look towards the future of Midnight, I can't wait to work with all the new Midnight ambassadors from many different ecosystems and walks of life and geographies. And I can't wait to watch the night shift become kind of the standard canonical source for people to talk about the ecosystem as a whole, and to see all the really cool things that you guys can build. One of the joys of Ethereum was that every week somebody came up with some new incredible idea. I remember when I was there, I saw a person connect at Bitcoin and Decentral, which was kind of one of the hubs where Ethereum was born from. Anthony Diorio led it. This door lock, and he connected the door lock to an Ethereum smart contract, and by sending a transaction to it, locked the door or unlocked the door. And that was just an amazing small thing, but to me it was such a big thing because that was the first time ever a blockchain could talk to a door lock. And then you'd think, what else could it talk to? It could talk to a vending machine, or talk to a car, or talk to a robot. A smart contract can be an autonomous control layer for the physical world as a whole. That's what that proved. And that was just a small thing for a small team. And Ethereum and Cardano alike showed tens of thousands of new things and brought them into the blockchain industry. We now look at rational privacy, we now look at selective disclosure the exact same way. There's a whole new family of video games, supply chains, medical record systems, ad tech, agentic workflows, all kinds of stuff that has yet to enter the cryptocurrency space because it lacks that fundamental capability. And now in just the next 90, 180 days, as things turn on, as we go through the launch roadmap of Midnight, we will see these things become a reality. And we will see thousands of people throughout the world realize those dreams. That's a magical and truly amazing thing. And it's a great honor to be at the ground floor of that and to be at the birth of something truly new and truly innovative. And on behalf of everybody at Input Output Group, and on behalf of everybody at Shielded and everybody who worked tirelessly for the last 6 years to be part of this dream, we would like to thank you all for your support, your patience, your trust, and ultimately your belief in a better world and that we could do it. This was our passion. It wasn't easy. We have to figure out the infrastructure, build a roadmap, recruit an army of people, figure out how to launch a token in 2025 and beyond, and figure out how to navigate oftentimes a very serpentine environment. And as you know, many failures and scams and issues. It's frustrating. And the cryptocurrency space has amazing highs and incredibly brutal, bitter, and terrible lows. But we do what we do, and we care about what we care about. Because at the end of the day, the cryptocurrency space isn't just a space, it's a composition of people with their rights, their dreams, their hopes. And the unifying feature is their belief that we can do better, that tomorrow can be better. We can build a society on objective reality, objective rules, and the economic, political, and social systems of the world can be changed. What I learned from Cardano, watching our ecosystem come together, especially with CIP 1694, the Constitution, and the birth of the Cardano government, is that when you trust people, when you give them a chance to actually do great things, by and large, they do great things. By and large, they come together. And now, as we look to the future, and we look to Midnight, and we look to the next generation, the privacy generation, the selective disclosure generation, well, it's the exact same premise. So many ambassadors will come, so many great dApps are going to be built, and so much wonderful new innovative technology will be brought to bear, and it's going to fundamentally transform the Web3 space and ultimately the TradFi space and beyond over the next 3 to 5 years. And we're going to witness the birth of something as big or bigger than Ethereum or Cardano. And that's really special to me. It's pretty magical. Just like there's still a place for Bitcoin, there's still a place for Cardano. Cardano's not going anywhere. Bitcoin didn't go anywhere. In fact, it's one of the most valuable assets of all time in human history. And it has a long road ahead of it and a lot of upgrades ahead of it. Ouroboros Laos, for example, is coming next year. Linear Laos will be at least a 50 to 60x improvement in throughput. And Cardano continues to be one of the largest experiments in human history for decentralized governance of a cryptocurrency protocol. And there are many upgrades coming to the Cardano Constitution, the way people vote, the way people innovate. And the smart contract model of Cardano continues to evolve. And I believe that Cardano's destiny is invariably tied to the growth of Bitcoin. Bitcoin DeFi is going to bring, over time, billions of dollars of value into the Cardano ecosystem, if not tens of billions. And we will finally be able to add a development layer to Bitcoin, allowing Bitcoin for the first time ever to be a complete system and bridge into the third generation. And using Midnight with Cardano and Bitcoin, we effectively have a social triumvirate to rewrite the rules of society, with Bitcoin being a value layer, Cardano being a compute layer, and Midnight being the privacy layer. These three things together would allow you to create nation-scale applications for hundreds of millions of people that fundamentally protects who they are, it fundamentally protects their human rights and guarantees rule of law and objective reality for all. This has been my life's work. I started in the Bitcoin space, moved to the Cardano space, and now I'm also in the Midnight space. And I always return to the beginning. We're still in the Bitcoin space. We're working on Bitcoin DeFi. We're still in the Cardano space. And now with the second kid born, we're in the Midnight space. It's pretty sobering to think that we actually have a line of sight to a new world, one where you're in charge, one where we got rid of the middleman, and one where all of us can trust each other again because we have a blockchain to help us get there. And think about how far ahead humanity could be and how good life can be if we return to a world of objective reality, truth, and trust. So, thank you all so much for all the help, love, trust, and support over the past 6 years. I'm going to invite you all to come to the Midnight Summit. It's out in London, England, on the 17th. I hope to see as many of you as possible there, and we'll talk about the future, and we'll get everything turned on. We'll do it together like we did Cardano. And you know what? The ship is strong. The seas may be rough, the winds may be hard, and it may take some time, but the stars are right, and each and every one of you has a place and purpose in this. We will get to the promised land together. Thank you so much.